Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Friday, the 5th of September, your final bite-sized news of the week. And wow, all I can say is so much has happened in the last 24 hours you might want to watch and see. So let's dive into the news and see where it takes us. In Washington, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. clashed with Democrats in a fiery Senate hearing over vaccines and his management of the CDC and NIH. Kennedy declared the US the sickest country in the world and defended firing senior health officials, saying they failed to protect Americans. Democrats blasted him as reckless and even a charlatan, warning his actions are fueling distrust in public health. Kennedy pushed back, insisting he's not anti-vaccine but pro-science, while Republicans and Democrats alike raised alarm about his leadership. President Trump is hosting a White House dinner for top tech CEOs, including Apple's Tim Cook, Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, and OpenAI's Sam Altman, following an AI event in the Rose Garden. Notably absent is Elon Musk, a former Trump ally, highlighting their ongoing feud. Other tech leaders, including Google's Sundar Pichai, Microsoft's Satya Nadella, and AMD's Lisa Su, are expected. The snub underscores tensions between Trump and Musk, even as the administration aggressively engages with tech sector on manufacturing, chip production, and US competitiveness. In a bizarre legal mix-up, Indiana lawyer Mark S. Zuckerberg has sued Facebook for repeatedly suspending his account, accusing him of impersonating a celebrity. Over 8 years, the lawyer says the errors have cost him thousands in lost business. Meta has now reinstated his account and promised to prevent future mistakes. The lawyer insists he's no Mark Elliott Zuckerberg, the Facebook founder, but admits a personal apology from the billionaire wouldn't hurt. Washington, D.C. has filed a lawsuit challenging President Trump's deployment of more than 1,000 National Guard troops in the city, calling it an illegal use of military for domestic law enforcement. Attorney General Brian Schwab says the move violates the Home Rule Act and amounts to a federal takeover. The White House insists the deployment is legal and helps fight violent crime, while critics warn it risks an authoritarian overreach. Trump plans to send guard units to other cities despite opposition from local leaders. President Trump plans to sign an executive order to rebrand the Pentagon as the Department of War, reviving the original name used from 1789 until 1947. While Congress must approve any official change, the Pentagon will be allowed to use the new title in the meantime. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth, a longtime supporter of the move, has promoted it on social media and hinted that his role may shift under new structure. The announcement is part of a broader effort by the administration to reshape military culture and leadership. In Germany, the Alternative for Germany Party, or AfD, has hit record polling numbers in Saxony-Anhalt. A new survey shows nearly 40% of voters back the party, putting it 12 points ahead of the ruling Christian Democrats. With elections set for September 2026, support for AfD has nearly doubled since the last regional vote, despite the party being labelled far-right extremists by German security services. Nationally, polls also show AfD rivaling or surpassing Chancellor Friedrich Merz's bloc. The US has imposed sanctions on 3 Palestinian human rights groups after they asked the International Criminal Court to investigate Israel over alleged war crimes in Gaza. The groups, based in Gaza and Ramallah, cited airstrikes, blockades, and displacement of civilians. The sanctions follow ICC arrest warrants for Israeli officials and come amid growing international concern over the conflict, which has killed over 63,000 people and sparked a severe humanitarian crisis in Gaza. In Australia, a long-time bank employee says she was replaced by the AI she helped train. Catherine Sullivan worked 25 years at the Commonwealth Bank, creating scripts and testing responses for the bank's chatbot, Bumblebee. She was made redundant in July along with 44 colleagues, marking the first time the bank directly linked job cuts to AI. Sullivan says she never expected to lose her job to a system she helped develop, highlighting growing concerns about AI's impact on the workforce. After nearly 40 years drifting from Antarctica, one of the world's largest icebergs, A23A, is finally breaking apart. Once twice the size of London, it's now rapidly disintegrating as warmer waters and ocean currents take their toll. While its collapse poses little threat to South Georgia's wildlife, it could create a temporary hazard for shipping as smaller fragments become hard to track. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness has secured a third consecutive term as his Jamaica Labour Party beats the opposition People's National Party 34 to 29 in a tight race. Holness praised the country's economic growth, falling crime rates and his government's momentum, promising to continue development. Opposition leader Mark Golding conceded defeat, emphasising the importance of democracy despite low voter turnout. Holness said Jamaicans spoke and chose the country's direction. Afghanistan has been struck by a third earthquake, this time measuring 6.2, as the death toll from Sunday's quake rises above 2,200. Entire villages in the mountainous southeast have been flattened, leaving tens of thousands homeless. Rescue teams are struggling to reach survivors amid landslides and damaged roads, while aid agencies warn that a severe shortage of supplies and funding is hampering relief efforts. The disaster adds to Afghanistan's ongoing crises, including drought and economic collapse. An update on yesterday's tragic Lisbon streetcar crash. The death toll remains at 16, with 21 injured, including tourists from several countries. Authorities maintain all maintenance checks were carried out, but locals are demanding stricter inspections of the historic funicular. Witnesses continue to describe the chaos, and calls grow louder for accountability, with residents insisting someone needs to answer for what happened. The French women's boxing team has been barred from the World Championships in Liverpool after missing the deadline for mandatory genetic sex tests. France banned such testing, so the team sent athletes to a UK lab, but results weren't delivered in time. 5 French boxers, along with athletes from Nigeria, Fiji, the Philippines and the Dominican Republic, are all affected. World Boxing says federations are responsible for ensuring tests are completed, leaving many fighters unable to compete despite prior assurances. Latvia is preparing to join Denmark in drafting women into military service. Defence Minister Andris Spruds says his party will propose a law next year requiring both men and women to serve starting in 2028. Female-specific equipment is already being introduced as the armed forces plan to more than double their size to 31,000 troops. The move comes as NATO countries expand their militaries in response to what they call a Russian threat, a claim Moscow dismisses as fear-mongering and reckless militarization. Tensions between Israel and France are escalating. Israel's foreign minister says President Emmanuel Macron is not welcome in the country after Macron vowed to formally recognise Palestinian statehood at the upcoming UN General Assembly. Officials argue such a move undermines Israel's security and dismiss Palestinian leadership as unreliable. Prime Minister Netanyahu has already declined Macron's request to visit before the summit, while Macron continues to call for a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of Israeli hostages. Well, that was your bite-sized news today. There was a lot going on, but as always, we keep you updated with what's happening in the world. And all that's left for me to say is for all my other content, head over to Brooker.tv. So take care, God bless, see you all soon. Bye now.